there seemed to be a concerted effort in the second half to be a little bit more conservative on the offensive end. Was that something that you thought about while the game was going on? Was that the plan? Did you even think it was a conservative game plan?
I've never coached a conservative offense ever. So no, to answer your question. If we don't score points, it's not because we're not trying. All right, you get into 4 minutes at the end of the game, we're winning, yeah, we'll try to chew the clock up. Other than that, we're trying to score every single time. What happened is we had a fumble that went out the back of the end zone. That's what stalled the drive.
Doing something on kickoffs, and those rule changes a few years ago were kind of designed to limit them a little bit and returns a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys are down to, I think, a third of the kickoffs between you and your opponent. About a third of the kickoffs are being returned. And have you noticed how rare those are now? And is it? I mean, that's what they wanted to do. So is this the right thing, or are you missing the kickoff return from the game?
That's a good question. We are down. The thing about it, obviously Rasa can a lot of times kick it out of the back of the end zone, or they're not going to bring it out, or you're putting it 5-6 yards deep. For a long time, we were always bringing them out, regardless, and did that. They did again Saturday night. I kept telling the guys they're probably going to bring it out. At some point, they're going to try to make a play. We tried to do that a couple games ago. But I do think it's right, and I do think, the way it's set up has been effective. I don't think it's hurt anybody. You get the ball at the 25-yard line. If you do have a chance to get a return, it's because the guy dropped the ball 2 yards deep in the end zone, and guys are going to bring it out, which does happen. And I don't know, it's obviously limited. I don't know the exact numbers like you, but it has limited it. I don't think it's a bad rule, and I don't think it's hurt the game really in any way from what I've seen.
With Terrell's back there again on kickoff, just real quick about his continued opportunity back there. But also, you brought up no sacks and tackles for loss were down in that game, and just how much does that help as an offense, obviously? Yeah,
Terrell, he's a guy that he'll just hit it. You saw it. He hit it. We were close again, which that's the kickoff return is always going to be it's just that close. It's always going to be that way, or you're getting blown up. Somebody just completely misses a guy. He's got the mindset. He just goes. He hits it, and he's taking care of the football, when he's done it. So, yeah, he earned that opportunity, and we like him back there. As far as tackles for losses, sacks, and all that, it's huge. Our third down percentage, for us, I think it was 63% if you went and did that. Now, we had one that we got into a 4th and inches and went for it, so I counted that, all right, for the offense. So we were, 70-something maybe is what it was. I told those guys, if we get in 4th and inches and we have a chance to go for it and we get it, that's the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. It helped in those areas. We were ahead of the chains a lot more because we didn't take negative plays and we didn't take sacks, which was a huge point of emphasis and has been. And our guys understand that, and it was pointed out, again, of why we had success, field position, and third downs is because we didn't do that.
The whole 1-0 thing, if I remember right, that started after the Air Force game last year. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, more of an emphasis on it.
Okay. That's when I first at least started hearing guys talking about
that.
I wondered how that, what kind of, at that point, if you remember, going back to what kind of brought you to kind of start emphasizing just that 1-0 phrase, and also going, this week, UNLV's coming off a bye, and you guys are approaching a bye. It seems like it's a chance for guys that are banged up and stuff, knowing they have a week off coming. Is there maybe planning to go home for a few days? I don't know. I mean, is there any kind of challenge this week, knowing with the bye on the horizon for you at all? Or?
No, I don't think so. We haven't even talked about it. We have a schedule for the bye, so guys, they have a couple days, but that's not any of our focus at this point. The 1-0, it's simple. That really needs to be the mindset here. I think all too often when you've won and had success and you put a couple back-to-back, then everything starts, bowl projections, where you're going to go, what's going to happen. All those things just get fired out there, and if you pay attention to any of that, that's a problem. And that's come from the experience of coaching here for a lot of years. We just got to worry about every week. Football will humble you. each and every week, and you can get beat by any football team. And you see it every single year where teams aren't supposed to lose and they do. And I think that's because, guys start maybe looking ahead, or you're not focused on whatever you need to be focusing on that week. And that doesn't, regardless of your season and regardless of any year, that should always be the mindset. And I think here in particular, because we've had success and we've won, you can't start looking ahead of where you're going. You just got to be looking at what you're doing day to day. And it's not just 1-0 each week, it's every day. What are we doing tomorrow? And just stay focused on that, because that's hard enough to do for all of us anyway, is just being in the moment. And we try to do that, and especially in sports, you have to, so you get better. That shows up on game day.
No Demas, is he okay? Coach's decision, what happened there?
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
One more about getting back to the early kickoffs real quick. I mean, you guys have gotten so acclimated to these late kickoffs. Is it harder, or was it harder to adjust to those, or maybe to adjust to an early one? And then I know that it would probably play a greater role if you did play next week, but how hard is it to get home at 4 o'clock in the morning versus a game like this when you might get home at 8 or 9 o'clock and can actually get to bed on time and have a kind of a normal routine, I guess?
Yeah. Is it more difficult that way? Yes, if you're going to take the mindset out of it, if you're just going to look at it from that standpoint, you're home at 5 in the morning, recovery time, getting back, prep time, focused, mentally fresh, yeah, that puts a different spin on it. But it is what it is. I think that's something that probably needs to change. There needs to be talk about. There's got to be a point. I think there's a time frame from 9 o'clock at night till 5 in the morning that you can't do anything, practice-wise, but you can play. And it's all about sleep and making sure that athletes have some time to just relax with school and football, and then, that doesn't apply to game time. So it is what it is. I don't have the answer for that. I don't know why. I haven't done enough research on it, but I do know that would be something that, I'm sure people will look at and it'll be addressed. I know that Rich Rodriguez talked about it. Was something that I had seen. And so you just have to adjust with your schedule of how you prepare. But you're still going to prepare each and every week, and that's really what we've done. To me, it goes back to your mindset, your strength coach, that you are doing the right things each night, getting into bed, taking care of your body, hydrating, for days like that, knowing that your recovery time might be a little bit shorter, but if it's done right, it shouldn't affect you. It really shouldn't. If you're doing things the right way. Now, 18 to 22, is everybody doing things the right way and going to bed on time and all that? We don't do that. So it makes it hard. It just has to be prepared the right way.
With the trend of college coaches like Gus Malzahn going from high school into college, what have you seen out of Coach Sanchez with his team at UNLV, and is there anything that he's taken from his high school play calling into the college ranks?
Yeah, he had success in high school. He had some really good teams where he coached some really good players. And like the coaches you mentioned, I think there's a lot of, from Optimist football through college, there's a lot of basics of the game. And you see guys that can coach. Art Briles is a prime example of that. The guy can coach. He's been very good at what he's done, and that's shown. So to me, I think it's I don't know if it's where you started from. If you can coach and you kind of understand what it takes to be successful at the game, you start to see guys get opportunities. But as far as we got to go play against them, we'll find out when it's all said and done. But I respected him and the guys on his staff for the places they've coached and what they're doing right now.
Saw Ryan Finley come down with the coaches from the box. What's the strategy of having him watch the game from up there, and what is he learning from watching the game with the coaches up there?
Learning. When guys are injured, we're not going to have them just sit on the sideline and do nothing or not meet and just heal the entire time. He is a quarterback to take advantage of the time that he's injured and look at it from a different perspective. When's he ever going to get a chance to be in the box? If you're playing, never. And so, all right, look at it from, what Coach Drinkwitz or what the coaches in the box see. You can see the big picture. It's like watching it on video. And to me, I hope that gives him a different perspective when he gets back out there and starts playing. That he's got a different vantage point of learning about what defenses look like, how they play, maybe some key positions that give him what he's looking for out there, coverage-wise. So there's a lot of different things. I mean, keep him in the loop. He's a quarterback. Quarterbacks, those guys need to think like coaches all the time. And if he's not playing, then he should be helping us that way, which he's done.
Brian Wolpen was a captain the other night. I know Rivet said a couple weeks ago that he's playing well in special teams. Just wondering what you guys have seen from him to do that. And then you talked about Spurbeck a little bit the other night and sort of his unique ability with his hands. But you see the SportsCenter top 10 or whatever. It's all these guys making these crazy catches, but they're all like 6'2" and 200 pounds with giant hands. And he is none of those things. So what is it that he's got in his hands to do this stuff?
Yeah, Ryan Wolpen, yes, he has gotten much better, and I think he's just a guy that whatever you ask him to do, he does it, and he does it well. He's made plays on special teams. Guys have noticed. He stood out that way, and I think he's just going to keep getting better and be more of a contributor on teams, hopefully in the offense. But he's improved. Thomas, I don't know. He's just, like I said before, I don't really have the answer for it. You see these guys all the time, warming up, making one-handed catch, and you're right, their hands are enormous. I just think he's got unbelievable determination to stay with it and really competitive. The ball he tipped, and it's in his mind, I can make this play. And to me, I think that's for any athlete that plays at a high level, I think you have to have that mindset, and he just does, and he shows it in practice. He's made catches in practice too, not that spectacular. I've never seen one like that, but he's made some that are pretty good, and he practices that way. So I think when it comes to game time, it's not like it's something that he can't accomplish or it's amazing to him. He came down with it and was like, I got it, to keep my feet in, gets up, runs back, and runs the next play.
What's kind of the reaction there in the film or film room or whatnot when Thomas does make a catch like that? And then you mentioned Leighton Van Resch's name just a little bit ago. He made a couple plays. I'm just curious about his development because it wasn't that long ago he showed up probably under 200 pounds and was an 8-man quarterback. So yeah. So with Leighton, here's a guy that didn't have a whole lot of tape and was one of those hidden gems. He really is. He's long, can run, he's tough, and he's getting better. He's still in a learning process right now of the position, but he prepares. I think he's around a great group of guys too that help him. And we're lucky we got him here. And he's loves this place. He's done things off the field and in the classroom the right way. So I think he's just taking care of business, and it's showing, and he's going to get better and better as he continues to play. We actually showed a few plays. We took some clips out from the game. One was Tyler Horn. We got to talk about him. We talked about because that was a play that they prepared for. It was a play that they spent time on, a little screen that he stepped right in front of and took it, and then ran and got us down there on the 1-yard line. Had great ball security at the end, even tucked it away, which was a big point of emphasis, with everybody on the team, and he listened to that. So that was a huge play. We showed Thomas's play, the catch, and everybody kind of, like you would think, they kind of ooh and ahhed a little bit, and I think everybody's like, wow, that's a great play, and it really was. So, but that wasn't about just the play. It was about how Thomas practices that way and his mentality and determination to do those type of things, and it's shown up, and those guys get it, and that's the challenge, for everybody in that room. I'm not talking to Thomas. We're talking to Darion Jackson and those guys that see it like, all right, if I want to be like that, I need to practice like this. I need to get around a guy like Thomas Spurbeck and pick his brain and like, what do you do? So it's really a lot for the young guys to figure it out and say, okay, I want to make plays like that. Here's how you do it.